Edinburgh Fringe Festival, day number 4 is in the books Tuesday. Tuesday is one of the 2-for-1 days, so it's a time when some people decide to go, do you know what, let's take a chance on stuff tonight because it's going to be 2-for-1 ticket prices. So I had a very interesting and very busy day actually. It's my busiest day so far. I ended up doing 5 gigs in total. Started off number 1, back to an Asian occasion, which I like doing that show. I love performing to Asian audiences. I love being able to get to know the other Asian acts. I think that's fantastic. But this was a bit of a tougher crowd. 40% of the audience, I calculated it for you, 40% of the audience were there to see one lady, a Canadian who lives in London now, called Parveen. And she went on second. So what happened was, after she'd gone on, I'd gone on last, and it was a lot tougher for me because 40% of the audience, I could tell that they were done. They wanted to leave. They'd seen who they'd come to see, and I don't blame them. If my daughter was performing somewhere, I'd probably be wanting to like support her, but not really that bothered about seeing everybody else. So by the time I got on stage, it was a bit tougher to work the crowd. Enjoyable still, because I love doing the Asian shows. Then I did the alternative black comedy showcase, which they always have a token white person on, and that's what I applied for. And Che Burnley, the guy running it, said, Polish Pakistani, that's black enough for me. You can be one of our black acts. So I thought, brilliant. So I went down there, and oh my goodness me, what a show this was. I cannot hype up how brilliant of a show this was. Che, as a host, I couldn't have asked for any more. He got the room absolutely rip-roaring into a frenzy. They were absolutely loving it. They were completely, he'd set the tone perfectly. Usually when you open a show, it's really difficult. I went on there, opened, and honestly, it was the best performance I'd had at the Fringe so far. Everything I was doing was just clean, bouncing straight into the back of the net, easy volley, goal. Everything was going perfectly. I couldn't believe how well that was going. I really, really, really enjoyed that gig. I'm looking forward to doing that again. Touch wood, hopefully it goes well again. So after that, I went and did a showcase at I can't say this, St. Stephen's Centre, but I can't say it quickly. St. Stephen's Centre, okay, I did it that time. But it's really a bit of a mouthful, that one. Bit more of an international audience, a bit of an international vibe in this one, which I struggle a little bit with that sometimes because of my accent. It's a bit harder to digest for people. I have to slow it down. But when I've only got 5 minutes, I like to go really, really fast and give them as many jokes as possible so I can say, hey, that's me in the shop window, come and see my show. So they were like smiling and laughing lightly in the right places and stuff, and I think they were getting it and going along with it, but I don't think they were overly my kind of audience. And listen, that happens sometimes. You kind of have to accept that some people want to be everyone's cup of tea, but no one's everyone's cup of tea. So that was gig number 3. Then it was my solo show. I pre-sold some tickets again. Fantastic. It's a relief to get there and be like, the show's not going to be cancelled. There are people who've bought tickets and they are going to come to your show. And quite often it's people buying last minute tickets, right? Because my show was only on sale from like 2-3 days ago, so they couldn't have booked that far in advance anyway. So I'm now relying on last minute ticket sales for the most part, but it was nice to get there and do it. As I am outside flyering, by the way, I've now got my flyers. Let me get them here. I got 500 of these bad boys. I thought I would love having flyers and it would make it easier. I actually think they're a hindrance, and the reason I think flyers are a hindrance is because when you're on the street and you're holding someone and you want to give it to someone, they feel like you're trying to sell them. It feels like you want something from them, and I do want something from them, but I don't want that to be their first instinct. I want their first instinct to be that I am approaching them as a friendly person, and that's what I try to do. So what I've been doing for the most part is I've been standing outside my venue, and the show listings are all behind me every single show, and I just say to people, hey guys, you want to see a show tonight? I don't start off by trying to sell my show. I just start off by being open, go, hey guys, you want to see a show tonight? And they go, okay, yeah, what's on? And I'll go, well, first and foremost, let me tell you about mine. I'm performing here 9:45, would love to see you there. I said, but then sometimes they're like, oh, but we want to see something a bit quicker. We want to see something right now. I said, okay, if you want to see something right now, this is starting in 5 minutes. That's just about to start. That's going to start in 10, 20 minutes. So depending on how quickly you want to turn around, you've got these different options. But if you don't like the look of those, I would absolutely love to have you in my show. This is my show. Anwar, ukips, nightmare, da 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 da. Now, a lot of the times people will just go, okay, we're going to go see something else because we want to see something now. And I'll be honest, that's completely fine. I don't feel hurt by that. I feel like I'm providing a service to them whilst at the same time trying to sell my show. But every now and then people will be like, okay, tell me on it then. Okay, because they've liked me now. I've created that relationship between them in that time, and they like me. They go, okay, you saw me on your show. So while I'm flying last night, a couple walk across the road, and I say, would you like to see a show tonight? And they say, are you from Bolton? I said, yeah, I'm from Bolton. They said, oh my God, we're from Bolton. Ah, how bizarre is this? We've just seen someone from Manchester, now we've seen someone from Bolton. I said, yeah, I've actually got 3 people from Bolton in my show right now, because 3 people had come down. I got chatting to them, and they'd already bought tickets to my show because I'm from Bolton. I don't know them, and so they'd already gone into my show. They were the pre-booked people. So they were like, okay, tell us about your show. I said, well, it's Adam Anwar, ukips Nightmare. And they were like, Adam Anwar? He went to school with my daughter. I said, who's your daughter? They told me the name, and it's a girl called Daniela, who I went to high school, primary school, even nursery school with. This girl. I've known her since I was 3 years old. And like, I couldn't, and looking at her, I was like, yeah, of course, she looks so much like her mother. As soon as she said it, I thought, of course you're her mum. She was like, well, I've got to see your show. And she's going, oh my God, yeah, you can't be Adam Anwar, you're still 15 in my eyes, because that would have been the last time that she would have seen me, when I was in school, right? So, yeah, so then she came and seen my show, which is like really lovely coincidence that she was there and she came to see my show. My show itself, let me be honest with you guys, it was not the smallest crowd I've ever had, but it was like one more than the smallest crowd I ever had. So it was a very small. Actually, I'll tell you about another guy who was in there. Another guy who was in there before I go into it. I said, do you want to see a show? And he said, well, I'll be honest with you. If it's not my cuppa, I'll just walk out. What kind of a show is it? And I'm trying to tell him about it. And he goes, oh, and I'm really bad at selling my own show. I'm really bad at selling it. It's much better than I make it sound. Because people really enjoy it when they're there, and this guy's a great example of it, because when I'm explaining it to him, he's like, oh, it doesn't really sound my kind of thing. I said, I'll tell you what, give it a go. He said, well, if I don't like it, I'm going to walk out. I said, do you know what, that's completely fine. If you want to walk out, you can walk out. So he said, all right, deal. So he comes in and he does it, and he stayed for the entire show. So happy that he stayed for the entire show. But out of everyone in the audience, it was a bit more difficult, because the majority of the audience were retired people. So I love playing to everyone, and I love playing to retired people as much as I love to play to everyone else. It just made it a little bit more difficult for me, because they're not my prime kind of audience. My prime kind of audience are younger people who are like on the same wavelength comedy wise to me. Now these people, not that they look like they're having a bad show, it's just they were more like looking and smiling and like laughing in the right places, but again, not the big raucous laughs. But I was so happy to have them there, and I was saying this to them afterwards. Thank you so much for taking a chance on me. Thank you so much for coming to see my show. But it was the most interesting show for me so far, because I was playing to that different kind of crowd, and it was bittersweet. I put this online afterwards. It was bittersweet, because it was bitter in the sense of I felt like maybe it was my worst performance, but then it was sweet in the sense that afterwards they all came up to me and they were all like, no, we enjoyed the show. It was really good. It was good. Thanks for that. And I was like, okay. So even though when I'm not at my best, people are still enjoying it, and even though it's not my main primary target audience, people can still enjoy it. And I'd love to be able to keep bringing in people out to my show. Then, end of the night, I met up with Jimmy Shirley. So, by the way, this is the random story that I forgot to tell in the last video. I was at the bus stop on the way home 2 nights ago. Jack Kelly, who's another actor in Manchester, I've known him for years now. I'm looking down at my phone and I just see like this out of the corner of my eye, and I look up and Jack's like, hey, how you doing, Adam? So we get chatting. I knew that he was in this accommodation somewhere, but there's loads of different blocks, there's loads of different rooms. As we get here, he's like, what room are you in? Turns out Jack's 2 doors away, and the guy he's doing the show with, Jimmy, who I'd spent time with earlier that day getting food, is in the room next door to me. Like, what a mad coincidence is that? So I met up with Jimmy again, and we went to go and get like a takeaway. Then we went to go and get like the bus home. And as we're about to go and get the bus home, I spotted another comedian friend of mine, Lydia Hurst, who she runs gigs at the Fringe, and she goes, Adam, come on. So I was like, yeah, how you doing, Lydia? She's like, do you fancy jumping on a show right now? I was like, why not? Let's do it. So when I jumped on another show, I was supposed to be on my way home, jumped on my 5th show of the day. I think they called it Shit Fight Comedy Night or something like that. And it was a raucous, rough crowd, mostly Scottish people in there. And they were there, and they were rough. They were ready for it. And I went on stage and boom, I'm heckled straight away. I don't mind being heckled, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't mind being heckled. The only problem is when I feel like the person's just being rude for the sake of it, it gets a little bit annoying. So I thought I dealt with it. He heckles me again when I've stopped talking to him. I'm thinking, all right, okay, he wants a bit of my attention, does he? So I go at him again. I feel like I've dealt with it. He heckles me again. Third time around, boom, I've finally done with it. I've settled with it. I go and do a bit of crowd. I go, is there anyone here not from Scotland? One guy in the audience goes, hey, I'm from New York. Boom, I'll go into 5 minutes about New York. Now the crowd are way on my side. They go, right, he's dealt with the heckler. Now he's just took someone saying they're from New York and he's doing loads of material about New York. Boom, we like this guy, we like this guy. Did about 5-6 minutes, did it all as like a bit of a whirlwind of comedy, really rough audience, but a great way to end the night. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, guys, that is day four of the Edinburgh Fringe Comedy Festival. I'm about to head out for day number 5. I think I'm already late, so I do need to get a move on. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.